I'm Cliff, and welcome to this, my new YouTube channel, Insania. Now what's it about, I hear you ask? Well, having been a avid fan of YouTube for the last, 20 odd years, basically I looked at it and I thought, I'd like to try that myself. I'm 54 years old, a little bit of a Luddite, but I thought I can master that sort of technology, and here we are. I can't guarantee how this is going to go, but we'll see, and we'll, play it by ear. So the channel idea is basically to take the cars that other people don't want to fix. The things that would have gone to the banger track, the things that would sit in a field gathering dust and rotting away. Now, when I thought about starting this channel, I thought, what kind of car am I going to want as my first project? I thought of the usual suspects, maybe an MGB, and I thought it's a little bit flat cap. I thought about minis, and I thought how expensive they are and how few good ones there really are for reasonable money. I thought about the Hillman Imp. Now, I've owned 6 of those out of my 203 cars and 15 odd motorbikes over the last nearly 40 years. But I've had 6 of those already. I'd narrowed it down to the fact I was going to grab myself a Morris Marina. Now, my first ever car was a Morris Marina 1.8 Coupe, much to the disgust of my escort-owning friends in my teenage years. I looked around online, the prices were still reasonable. There was a lot of sort of good cars coming out of garages. I was hoping for an early one. Looked around, made inquiries, went on the usual places, Evil Bay, Facebook Marketplace, even rang up the Owners Club. And after a good bit of thinking and looking around, I bought something completely different. Something with very little parts supply, a thriving Owners Club. There's probably only a dozen, if that, left in the UK, and most of those are left-hand drive. This is why my channel is called Insania. So just what is it that I've bought? Well, it says Auto Union at one end, DKW at the other, but it has what looks like an Audi badge. Well, here's for a bit of a history lesson. Auto Union was a company founded from 4 other companies and their need to survive an economic recession in 1932. The companies were Horsch, or Hawk, I think it's pronounced, DKW, Wanderer, and Audi. At that point, Horsch were the company that made posh cars, equivalent to something like Maybach. Then you had DKW, who made small little mopeds and motorcycles, and also some very small and weird little 2-stroke cars. You had Audi, who was sort of an offshoot between DKW and Horsch, and then you had Wanderer, who was sort of the middle class car. Nothing to write home about, but good, solid, reliable wheels. Well, this car that you're looking at is basically a very important car because it's the last of the DKWs, the last of the vehicles fitted with a 2-stroke engine, but also the beginning of modern Audi as we know it. Now, when this car came along in 1963, it was a modern monocoque design, disc brakes at the front, lots of space inside, a very modern, striking design. I would say a German in a Italian suit. And Volkswagen had been sniffing around and looking at Auto Union for quite a while to probably buy a controlling stake in the company, and that's just what they did. They wanted to use this saloon as the basis for something different and bigger, but of course they didn't have their own engine. They had to go to Mercedes for that, bizarrely, and who supplied them with a 1.7 4-cylinder engine to replace the little 1200 2-stroke that this car has. Once that was placed into the car, and the car was lengthened 4 inches to accommodate it, also mounting the radiator off to one side, they really released the car. Now, DKW wanted it to be an Auto Union or a DKW and be an F103, because this car is an F102. But Volkswagen wanted to bring back a name they hadn't used in a long time, and that name was Audi. Now, Audi hadn't been used as a car manufacturing brand since World War II. And Volkswagen saw this as having an upmarket to their, or string to their bow. They were very good at small air-cooled cars, but didn't have anything really to go into the sort of upper end of the market. And so this, once it was rebadged, slightly stretched, and fitted with a 4-stroke engine, became the first modern Audi. So all of you sat there in your Audi TT, your A4, your A6, your S4, all the modern cars, you owe this car a lot of gratitude. You're welcome. So let's look at a couple of things that make this car really unique. First and foremost, it's probably got to be this thing. Under the bonnet we have a 3-cylinder inline water-cooled 2-stroke, 1175cc, single carburettor, and 3 ignition coils to make the whole thing run. Triggered by a set point which lives underneath the cover at the front of the engine. Triple contact breakers. Talk about crazy, but it works. Also in this car, another old-fashioned and unique selling point. Fitted with a 4-speed column change. You can see the gear positions there. Now, I'd like to think for a 60-year-old car that actually the interior is in really good condition. Even the headline is good. And it's a little attention to detail. The chrome highlights, the gold coloured Auto Union badge. It just sets this car apart as being German made and German quality. I mean, we made good cars in the UK back in this time, don't get me wrong, but the German stuff was just a cut above. Also comes with these rather weird wide 4-stud wheels. Now, as far as I can work out, they're 4x140. Not, when I first saw them I thought, oh, maybe they're 4x130s like a Volkswagen, but they are 4x140, or the Imperial equivalent, which is quite unusual to find, with these big hubs in the middle. Also in this car, excuse me, working my way through the mess, we have inboard disc brakes and front wheel drive. So you had a very advanced suspension and steering system. It's rack and pinion, and then you had this antiquated design of engine dating back to sort of the 1930s and 40s. A real curate's egg, as they would say. Now, when Volkswagen took over and redesigned this to be the F103, they put square headlights on the car. No, this is missing its grille and its front valance, obviously, but basically Audiized it as we would we'd imagine Audi being these days if we think of an old 70s Audi. The engine itself was so long compared to the 3-cylinder that the car had to be lengthened by 4 inches. The engine tucked right forward into the front panel and a radiator off to one side. Now, this car has a small radiator that fits just here, and it all works sort of fairly well. The only thing it seems to be missing amongst all its other bits and bobs, I seem to have all the chrome and most of the trim, is an oil tank that fits here, which feeds the auto lube system for the 2-stroke. I'm looking out for one of those. But I mean, I just love some of the striking features. These indicators are just amazing. So many indicators mounted in the tops of the wings. It's almost Art Deco in its design sort of look. And I really like that. It's one of the things that first attracted me to it. It's quite a sparse use of chrome. The bumpers are stainless and actually surprisingly light. It's got a good sized boot. Currently full of, well, the rest of the car. Valance is here, front grille, and as we see, that Audi-esque badge. But as I say, the 4 rings represent the 4 companies that this company originally started out with. Got some lovely features, like original old stickers on here. an old folding warning triangle, even a tin of mixed up touch-up paint. From the rear there's a touch of, well, Wartburg, DAF. It's quite of its time, but a very interesting car nevertheless, and I'm really looking forward to getting my teeth into it. The body is surprisingly solid. Wheel arches, I have seen worse wheel arches on cars that are 15 years old. Under here, though surface rust is very, very solid. Bottom of the door has some surface rust, but nothing major. And again with the rear quarter. There's no major concerns about corrosion, which is great. I took a complete punt on this car. I saw it online. I made a low bid on it and I walked away and waited to see what would happen. And it's brought around some changes, because not only is it something I've wanted to do for a while, I haven't had a classic car project for probably 18 months, but also it's just really interesting, and I thought, hey, let's share this with other people, and that's why we're here. So that's it. This is what we're here for. The weird stuff, the unfixable stuff, they're just things that people don't want to save. We're going to try to do this as much as we can. We're going to do a few meet the fleets. My brothers have got some various different cars that you're going to be seeing over the coming weeks. I apologise for the wind today. It's my first time of doing this, and the weather is, not been my friend. The quality will improve, I promise. It just takes time and effort. We only get good at doing things by doing things. So what I'd like to say is, if you'd like to join me on this journey, and it's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride, then like and subscribe, and we'll see you again another day.